Okay, here's a simple one. It's the Gottlieb Genesis. I've been wanting to get one of these. They're just kind of fun and funky. Anyway, so the System 80Bs, Gottlieb System 80Bs, they don't have free play mode. So some people do a little wiring. There's a diode board in here. You can jumper a thing, and then that turns one of these buttons into an add credit button. In an arcade, that doesn't really work very well. Plus, you know, like you got to hit another button before you can start a game, and that's just way too much work. So there's another thing that I like to do to these, and I will show you what that is now. Okay, we're going to make our little gizmo doodad. So the first thing that we need are some wire. Usually when I make gizmo doodads, I go for about 8 inches of wire. You can go a little bit longer. Don't go too short, otherwise it's not going to work. So yep, those look pretty good. Next thing we need are some switches. We can use, if you really want to and get clever, you can use one of these micro switches, but let's not use that. You could actually modify an end of stroke switch, but that's not really the best thing. So they make little switches for switch stacks, and since we're making a switch stack, that's the best switch to use. So groovy. Now we need a little blade connector. Well, we need 2 blade connectors. I prefer the out of focus ones. I find I get the most use out of those. Take your solder, because you're going to need to solder some of this together. Take your little blade connectors, your wire, and your switch stack switch, and roll it up tightly in a paper towel. Oop, that kind of fell out. All right, yeah, you want to make sure that everything is wound up in the paper towel. That seems to work the best. And then just go ahead and pop that in the microwave. I think 10 minutes ought to do it. All right, we'll be back when that's done. Perfect. Okay, so go over to your coin door, and then this is the switch that when you drop quarters in or whatever, it hits that little switch, adds credits. So pull these 2 little blade connectors off, because we're going to use that on our new little doodad gizmo. We'll just, it doesn't matter which way they go, just slide those things on there, and everything should be hunky-dory. Now, when you push this switch, ding ding, that adds a credit. Fantastic. All right, so this is the button that you press to start the game. And what we're going to do is we're going to stack that switch that we just put together. We're going to stack that on the back of this switch. So just undo those screws. And the screws are usually long enough to stack a switch. If they're not, then you're going to have to find some different screws. Make sure to keep that plate on the back side of the switch stack. There's a little reinforcement there. Go ahead and pop those screws in there. Now, when we hit the switch to start a game, the stack switch then pushes the back switch, and that adds a credit. And we'll just screw this thing back in there. Then the last thing that I like to do once it's in is I like to give it a little couple of pushes and just make sure that all the switch is in the right location. So then the only other thing you need to do is make sure that when you push the switch, this one gets triggered slightly after this one. So you might have to adjust this back leaf here. That actually looks pretty good. So let's do one more thing. The little blade connectors I had weren't insulated, so I just wrapped them in tape. Okay, that's pretty much all you have to do. Just make sure those switches are adjusted. Let's give this a shot. All right, no credits, great, okay. So even if there's no credits, when you hit that button, it's going to push the start game switch first, then it'll push the add credit button. That'll register a credit, and then because the first switch is already depressed or already connected, the game will just start. Cool, huh? So much easier than going through all the effort of pressing an extra button to add a credit and then having to press a second button to start the game. All right, I'm gonna play. I'll see you guys later. Something I forgot to add. You need to make sure that the game is set for 1 coin equals 1 credit. If it's set for like 2 coins per credit, then this isn't gonna work very well. So if you've got the original board in it, which you probably have the original board in it because they don't make aftermarket boards for this yet, that's set on the, jeez, so noisy. That's set on the dip switches that are in that are on the board. So let's look in the manual and see what switches we need to set. All right, our manual here. So we go to which page? I don't know what page it is. All right, so here it is. So switches 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 coin, 1 credit. Off, 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 off. So set switch 1 through 5 to off. And then over here, switch 14, coin shoot left and right control, they're the same. So you want to make sure that switch 14 is on. And then that should do it for you. You shouldn't have to do anything else. Okay, so I think that's the end of the video now. I'm gonna go back to playing Genesis.